Hi, thanks for checking out my video today. I'm going to give you a quick review of Trick Photography and Special Effects by Evan Charbonneau. We're now in the second edition of this book, and if you've taken a look online, you've probably already seen the price. It's $47, and you may be wondering if it's worth the price. I will say I purchased it myself, and I was somewhat hesitant at first, but I'll get into what I really liked about the book and truly why I think it's worth $47. But I'll also tell you some of the things that I thought were wrong with it, so that way you can make the decision for yourself if it's really worth $47 to you. So you've probably seen some of the examples of photos that Evan has taken using the techniques that he teaches. You may have wondered if you'll be able to shoot these kind of photos once you've gone through the material here. And I'll tell you, like anything, it's going to take practice. He gives you all of the techniques that you need to take these photos. And yes, you can take photos very similar to this on your very first try. But are they going to look quite as perfect as his? Maybe not. It really depends on how skilled you are as a photographer, how much experience you have. Myself, I'm still a beginner here. I'm learning this myself, not just trick photography, but photography in general. But I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to learn. So go into it with the knowledge that if you're not an expert photographer, it's going to take some practice to get results as good as this. But the techniques are all there, and it's really not difficult to learn. So what do you get for the $47? You get a 290-page ebook. It's packed with just a ton of material on things like light painting and long exposures. Myself, that's my favorite part of it. But he also covers in-camera illusions. So if you're just starting out, that's a great place to start because it's something that you can do using just your camera. You don't need any kind of editing after the fact to create these illusions. He teaches you about high-speed photography, which I'm going to back up and show you an example of that hand punching the water. That's exactly the technique that he teaches. Not real difficult. It does require some lighting, and you will need a tripod for that. So just something to be aware of. But just so you know, a lot of these techniques, especially the in-camera illusions, don't require anything more than the camera that you already have. DSLR is preferable, but a lot of this you can do with just a basic point-and-shoot camera or even your cell phone camera. So he also teaches HDR photography, which is a technique where you combine several exposures of the same scene to make sure that each area of the photo is perfectly exposed. If you've ever shot, especially landscapes, you've probably had some pictures where part of it will be perfectly exposed, part of it will be overexposed, and part of it will be underexposed. If you shoot several exposures and combine them, the entire photo just comes out perfect. So that's the technique that he teaches in HDR photography. He also talks about panoramas, which can be a really fun technique. Multiplicity, and that's a technique where you'll shoot several shots of the same scene, but your main subject in the photo appears in several places throughout the scene. And that subject, it can be yourself, it can be your dog, it can be your car, whatever you decide you want to take a picture of. You just shoot several shots and then combine it after the fact to make it look like your subject is appearing several times. It's a lot of fun, and it's not difficult to do at all. He teaches you Photoshop projects, and I mentioned that I was going to explain what I thought were the flaws in this book. To me, this is the biggest flaw, is he talks about Photoshop and he doesn't really go too much in detail about any alternatives to Photoshop. But I want to let you know that there is a free piece of software. He does mention it, but he doesn't really give you much detail about it. But the GIMP is open source, it's completely free, and it does almost everything that Photoshop does for free. So you don't need to spend $700 on Photoshop. I wish he would have explained a little bit more how to use the GIMP. There was a little bit of a learning curve, But so far I've been able to do everything that he taught in Photoshop I've been able to do in the GIMP. So it's definitely something you don't feel like you need to go out and spend the money on Photoshop, and don't feel like you need to do something kind of shady or something illegal by downloading an illegal copy of Photoshop. So anyway, and there's a whole lot more in here. This is just scratching the surface of what's available. And then beyond the ebook, there's over 9 hours of video that supports the ebook. So if you're the type of person that learns better by watching rather than reading about it, these videos are really going to help you out. Myself, I like having both. A lot of times I'll even be reading and watching the video at the same time, kind of glancing back and forth. And that really just helps it to sink in for me. But having both for most people is really ideal. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed my review here. If you decide that you would like to get this for yourself, it is risk-free to try it out. You get 60 days to try it, and if you decide that you don't like it, they will refund 100% of your money. I have seen no reason to ask for a refund myself. However, I have dealt with ClickBank before, and ClickBank is the company that fulfills this order. They are completely painless when it comes to getting refunds. So if it turns out that you make the purchase and it just doesn't fit for you, you can be completely confident that they will refund your money, no questions asked, for 60 days. So if you decide that you'd like to try that out, click the link right below this video, and I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.